So let's talk about images. There's a couple of different ways to bring images into InDesign, and I want to show them all to you. So the first way is you go to Place under the File menu, and you just bring the image in. All right, here it is. I can resize it if I grab the corner and put my finger on the Shift key to get a nice proportional scale. Excuse me. I can scale it up. So I don't know if you saw what happened just then. First, I scaled up the frame, and then I scaled up the image. So let's go back and review. This, let me make this smaller so we can see it. This red line denotes the frame. The frame holds the image. The blue line that I think you can see is the actual image itself. So if I take the image and the blue line, and I put my finger on the Shift key and I pull, you can see how much larger the image is now, and the frame is sort of cropping it in. If I take my direct selection tool and I hold, if I click and hold, I can see the rest of the image now. So I can figure out where I want it to go. All right, so there's a frame edge and there's the image edge. Don't get them mixed up. Now, if I back up and if I draw the frame first and then place the object, it'll place it inside the image frame. So if I'm designing my page and I have an idea of where I want the image to go, I can bring it in like this, finger on the Shift key, I can scale it down. If I want the image to fit inside the frame so that I can see how much image fits inside the frame, I can come to the Object menu and say, fit the content proportionally. And you can see, here's my frame, here's the image, and it's fitted in there proportionally. I always want to work proportionally with images. I never want to squish or stretch an image. So now I can do that. And if you look up here, see the dimensions? By the way, I'm in Work Essentials Classic in my window. But you can see this is the percentage. So the whole image it's scaled 90 and a little bit percent. When you start working in print and you bring an image in, you want to watch this number. If the image is, we'll talk about this more next semester, but if the image is a raster-based image, a Photoshop-based image, you don't want to get too big with this number. This is a vector-based image. I can get as big or as small as I like. All right? So there's a difference there. If I just bring the image in, there's a different image. If I just bring it in, it just plops it down inside a frame, framed to the size of the edges of the image. And then I have to go back in and say, all right, I got to make you fit now. Whereas if let's say I was bringing in a photograph of somebody who was talking, and I wanted to put their image in the text, I could draw a frame the size that I wanted the headshot to be, and I could say place. And we'll pretend this is somebody's head. And it goes in there, and then I can go to fitting and say fit the content proportionally, and then I can click on it with my direct selection tool and scale it up until it fits. All right, so this way, drawing the frame first with the frame tool gives you a little bit more control. Now, you notice that when I went to get my images, they're here in this images folder, which is inside a folder with my InDesign project. This is how I recommend you set up your project files. Because if the image files get separated from the InDesign file, you're going to break those links. I recommend you do it for your poster file. I absolutely recommend it if you're doing your portfolio in InDesign, because you don't want to break the links. So what do I mean by that? Let's say I'm going to bring this image in. I'm going to use it as my background image, right? Let's bring it in. File, place. So let's say I'm going to finger on the shift key. I'm going to scale this down. I want this background pattern. Now, it's kind of a busy pattern, and it's getting very light, so I'm probably going to want to go in and edit this in Adobe. Look at that. I'm definitely going to want to go in and edit this in Adobe Illustrator. But to begin with, if I go to the links menu, which is in Window, L for links, see, it's saying to me, this is what's in the file, this Adobe stock image. So I can go in from here. This is the power of links. I can go in from here and I can edit it in Adobe Illustrator. Yes, you get this silly message. So now I'm going to go into Illustrator. You can see that this green is way too light. So I'm going to go to Select, Same, Fill Color, and all through the document, that green is the same green. I'm going to edit that green down to make it a little bit darker. You want to watch your colors, and I'm going to save this. I'll save on my computer. Now, it's going to convert it because my version of Illustrator is different than Adobe's version. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the word converted out. I'm going to save over the file. And it's going to say, you sure you want to do that? Yeah, I'm sure I want to do that. Now, it's the same file with the same name. Watch what happens when I go back. See that? It automatically updated the image. And you can see that it's that darker color. I still think that color is too busy, but we'll talk about that later. Here's the thing. If I take that file out of this folder, I'll put it here on the desktop, and I go back. Do you see the red circle with the question mark? It is a missing link. I have broken the link, and you can see what's happened. It's giving me a low resolution kind of approximation of that image because it can't find this link. So I have to go in and click on relink. I can do it here, or I can do it here, up here in the submenu. Relink the image. And it says, well, where is it? Where'd you move the silly thing? And so I have to go hunting uphill and down. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. And I hit open. And you can see now that it's done right. If you break a link, you can't print the file. You can't make a PDF of the file. You need the links to be current. And so, I mean, I could, if I wanted to, I could embed this link. If I click on it, and I come up to my submenu, I can embed the link. And you'll notice that I get this little icon that tells me that the link is embedded. But now, if I go back to the link in Adobe Illustrator, if I open that file again, whoop, I moved it. So if I go into Adobe Illustrator and I change this file again, so if I click on it and then I say select, and I say grab all the same fill color, I'll make it even darker so that I can read my type. That's a little better. I'll hit save and go back. You notice that it doesn't say anything. It doesn't fix the link. It doesn't tell me that the link is changed because I embedded it. If it's embedded, I can't edit it on the fly, which you're always going to want to change your images. So the good part is if I were to bring this file, this single file, if I put it on a Google Drive and then I brought it into the classroom and opened it, I wouldn't be missing the link. But the bad part is I can't edit that link anymore. It's baked into the file. And if you're working on, say, a portfolio file where you have 100 images and you embed every single image, that file is going to get a little bit bigger every single time. So best practice is you live link your files. You do not embed. So I can go back and unembed my link. Unembed link to the original file. Do you want to link to the original file? Yes, I do. The file has changed. Now, I'm linking back to that Illustrator file on the desktop, but it's changed, right? I changed that color. And so it's saying to me, hey, you modified this file. You better update the file. So I have to come over here and say, update the link. And there it is in the darker color. All right. it's really important that you understand this because you're going to lose links if you don't. So the night before class on Wednesday, I'm going to remind you all to make sure to take your links with you, assuming that you've put anything in, which is your homework. I want you to start working with images. All right. Let's talk about a few more things. I'm going to get rid of that for a minute. Don't forget that you can also work with color. So if I wanted to add color to this photograph in InDesign, I could also do this. This is a different kind of gradient tool. This one over here is a gradient swatch tool. This is the gradient feather tool. Watch what I can do. So I can create a gradient feather to, the gradient runs from 100% of whatever the color is in this little swatch to transparency. Not to white, but to transparency. And then if I wanted to, you remember in the color video I showed you, I could multiply it. That doesn't really do anything. I could overlay. So you can do quite a bit in Adobe InDesign if you want to work with your backgrounds. But if you wanted to add an image to InDesign, let's say that I had pictures of these people. So I want to add a photograph of Julianne Cost. I'm going to get the frame. I've got my finger on the shift key. There's the image. And I'm going to come up here to window and I'm going to go to text wrap. Now here's text wrap. This is no text wrap. This is a wrap around the bounding box. And then these controls, see, I can link them or unlink them. If I wanted, for example, to put this here, and let's say, let me go find a picture of somebody. I will look on my desktop for an image. You know what? I'm just going to grab a random image. I'm going to go to Object, Fitting, Fit Content Proportionally. There. That's not Julianne Cost. Maybe that's a picture of Julianne Cost's work, right? So I'll move it down here. And if I wanted the type to not hit the picture, right? I want some space here. I can come over here to the controls. Here's the right offset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See this line right here? This is the offset line. It doesn't print and it doesn't show, but it's showing me how far away the type is. So if I click on the image again, by the way, the text box is over the image box. If I put my finger on the command key and I click, I can click through. So if you're having trouble grabbing something, try putting your finger on the command key before you click. All right, so that's text wrap. And I just urge you to remember what I said in class. Just because you can wrap text around something doesn't mean you should wrap text around something. Pay attention to how the type interacts with the image on the page. Let me zoom back in. So this is less than optimal because I really want this to line up with this. I don't want things being all higgledy-piggledy. So I think I'll make this a little bit smaller. And I think I'll make this a little bit smaller. There. Now they're type high. And I feel like that's a better choice. If I want to put little images in, maybe headshots of these people, you want to do some due diligence. But just pay attention to what's happening here. See this? I'm pushing the type down as I do that. If I wanted to do pictures for all of these people, or maybe just some of these people, I have to pay attention to what's happening to the type at the bottom of the page. I don't want to cut anything off. Here, I'm pushing my session type down into my footer. I haven't made my footer white yet, but I will. So just be aware of what's going on the page. I need to rethink some things. I'm probably going to need to go in and change some paragraph styles and make all of this smaller so that I can move everything up if I want room for these images. All right? You can copy and paste images from Illustrator and Photoshop into InDesign, but again, you're not getting live links, not best practice. Best practice is to do a live link from a frame using the place command. So right here. Command D is the keyboard command. All right. If you have questions or you want to see me demonstrate something else, just let me know.